This is the Huayra R by LCD Models, and this obviously was a high expected model with a lot of expectations, and here we are. The very first thing I can definitely say about this model when we talk about the shape is absolutely perfect. There are no issues with the shape at all. This is a die-cast metal model, and it does obviously open if you're familiar with LCD models. One thing I'm going to point out right away, being that this is a metal die-cast model, is not only is the shape really good, keep in mind this is die-cast metal, and sometimes it's challenges for die-cast metal models to get these shut lines right. And what I mean by right is having them accurate to look like the real car. Now these are not the very best shut lines, but they're more than acceptable. They're actually better than what I thought they would turn out to be, so I'm very happy about that. But I can say again, it's close, but it's not quite there if you compared it to the real deal. The paint on this model is beautiful. This is a more of a satin paint, so there's no clear coat to make it shine, and I think it looks really good in this setting. There is a very faint flake in this paint as well. If we move to the front of this model, as you can see, there is a very big opening for that radiator or heat exchanger, as some people may call it, and it is really evident, and I like the way that it looks. There's also the ducting in the front as well, and you do have this carbon fiber front diffuser, and of course you'll get a closer look at that at some point. Let's go ahead and move to, let's just cover the lights. The light detail is very good. LCD has made several versions of the Huayra, and they've always done really well with the lights, and these are without exception very good as well. Let's go ahead and move to the back of this model. One thing I really do like about the Huayra R's is that these are true motorsports cars, in the sense of there's nothing hiding any of this in the back here, whereas like your road car Huayra would actually have a mesh grille to somewhat disguise some of these parts that are showing here. But again, this is totally exposed, and it's understandable. This is basically it's a race car. One thing I didn't point out is that you do have these tow hooks, and it is a true fabric tow hook, so I really do like that a lot. You have this massive carbon fiber diffuser, and the exhaust outlets are very good. They're nice and deep and acceptable. If we move over to the wheel detail, this is the rear wheel. Very nicely done. I like the large, humongous carbon ceramic brake disc. It looks like the real deal. The caliper is really well done, and I like the fact that the P0s, they're gold as opposed to like a yellow or white. I really do like that gold paint that's used for the tires. Same thing goes to the front. Of course, you have the larger caliper up front. You have the beautiful P0s, and there is a valve stem on this wheel as well. So they pretty much have everything covered. Before I open this model, I just wanted to also point out that these two flaps back here, and I know there's a better name than flaps, but these are retractable or movable as well, so you do have that nice feature too. So let's go ahead and open this model. Now, unlike the road cars, you don't necessarily have to open the doors first to get these parts off. You can simply take them off, and they are really easy to open. This is a very heavy piece, by the way. I mean, very heavy. And then you have the back, of course. And there are magnets, by the way, on this too. And you have this very nice exposed carbon fiber. I really like the substantialness of this piece. Since I have this here, you have this very nicely done carbon fiber wing. These are also just slightly adjustable. I say slightly because they're on these I guess you'd call them shocks. So it is very limited. I'm not sure if it was even actually meant to be moved at all, but there you are. Of course, the door is open. And there you are, fully opened. The doors, the hinges are very tight. I have no fear of them collapsing anytime soon. There are screws that are used to tighten these hinges up should they ever come loose, but the way that these feel, I don't think it'll happen for a very long time. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at this beautiful model. Here's the interior view, and as you can see, there's a lot to take in here. You have this steering wheel with the Pagani script. You have that screen there. It has a Huayra R on it. You have your HVAC controls there as well. You have the center stack with all of its controls, switches. You look at the floor there, you can see the foot pedals there. And they have the Huayra on the brake, it looks like there. It's really nice. It's a fully carbon fiber tub, and you can see that throughout, as you can see the pattern. You can see wiring that's coming through. Again, this is basically a race car, so they're not going to hide too much of that wiring, so it is going to show throughout the inside of the car. I really do like the stripe that's on the center console there as well. I'll show you something most people probably wouldn't pay attention to. But when you turn the wheel, not only does the wheel turn, but the gear for the wheel actually works. It's a working gear. Here we have the passenger side, where there is not too much room for that passenger because of all the wiring and electronics, and it's all included here. There's nothing missing. I really do like that you have so much detail in here. Stitched seatbelt, and it is a racing harness, so of course it has the multiple straps and buckles on both sides for the driver as well as the passenger. Because this is a race car, it's not going to be that much on the door. You just have the strap to pull the door closed, and that's pretty much it. Door sill with the Pagani script there. You also have even more electronics and safety equipment on the floor on the passenger side. The seat is a Alcantara type seat. It's a racing bucket seat. With the front half open, you can see there's plenty to take in here. This is the radiator or air diffuser. Again, it's angled downward, obviously, so the air can come in and basically cool the engine. Also, like, you have the ducting, so the air pulls in and then comes out of this extractor here. It definitely looks like a aluminum piece. It's not, but it looks like it, and I like the fact that the effect is done really well. You also have the tow hook strap here, and it is a true stitched strap, so that's nice. And it also has the Pagani script on there as well, as tiny as it is. There are tons of these little tiny screws, which goes to show you how much work and effort was put into this model. Now, not only is it beautiful, but it's functional. So the suspension is a functional suspension. And funny thing is, as I push this down, it actually has some compression to it. It doesn't feel like a simple spring. It actually feels like there's a hydraulic system in here. I never felt that before in a model. I know there isn't, but it feels that way. You also have these canisters here. I'm pretty sure, I'm not an engineer by any stretch of imagination, but I'm assuming some of these would probably be for the hydraulic fluids, like the brake fluid, for example. And you have this canister here. There's just a lot to take in here, and it's amazing. The carbon fiber work is excellent as usual per LCD. They do a really good job with that. I also like that all of these rivets or bolts that you see here, they are painted, but I like the fact that it was included and not just a simple mold. here in the back here, and there is again just so much to take in. You have these big 4 exhaust outlets. You have the stitch here as well for the tow hook. Lots of carbon fiber, lots of scaffolding. And the structure of this car is just so phenomenal. It's a piece of art. And just like with the front, the back also obviously is a collapsible or workable suspension. So you can see the springs there doing their thing. You could look at this for an hour and still probably miss things. There's just so much there. At the very top here, this cover is removable, so we'll go ahead and remove that, so you have even more exposure to this engine. So that's this part here that you see here, you have this scoop, and yes, they did not forget to add the perforated grill there for this scoop, so it drives this air into this cooler here, which invariably goes to all of these here, these individual intakes that go to the cylinders. This is a heat shield, and it's replicated perfectly, so they have that there to protect the back of the shell, the carbon fiber shell. They take in even more of this. You have all this wiring, electronics here. You have the V12 for this, I believe it's a Mercedes based engine. You have the Pagani script there on the valve cover. You have a carbon fiber on top of that as well. You have your fuel pressure regulator. I'm pretty sure that's what that is there. Again, you could look at this for an hour and still probably not capture everything. And that's the beauty of a well-detailed model like this, is that you can just see new things all the time and be overjoyed and be like, man, I can't believe I missed that. And there you go. The Huayra R by LCD Models. And now to my conclusions. When I finished the review of this model, I had to really think about how I was going to conclude this video. I'm saying that because there is so much I could say about this model. It is by far the best model LCD has ever made. If there's a flagship model like you do with cars, in reality, this Huayra R for LCD is definitely their flagship model. There is just so much built into this model. There is so much detail. You can tell that the people at LCD are very passionate about model making, and it really shows. The fine touches, the details are all there. There's a lot of care that was put into this model. The model's also very well packaged. It came with, of course, detailed instructions, as well as an individualized number sheet, so you could actually personalize this with your own numbers. If I was to put a rating on this model, it definitely gets the $4 signs. This model will definitely go up in value. The other thing I'm going to mention is that we know that AutoArt is going to also make the Huayra R almost real at some point. Maybe we'll also make this Huayra R, but I wouldn't wait for those. I am completely satisfied with this model. There's nothing else I would want out of a model like this. This compares to the Zonda Revolution that AutoArt produced many years ago. It is on par with that, if not better. That's how good this is. I wouldn't compare the two because they're different cars. If you wanted to do a comparison of which was more detailed than the other, I guess you could, but I don't think that's relevant because, again, they're two different cars altogether and they're both great. But this is a must-have. In other words, if you had a one model collection, I mentioned this before in another review, but if you had a one model collection, this would qualify for it, or any of the other colors that LCD has forthcoming. This would definitely be one of those. Be curious to hear what your comments on this. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you next time.